I will be focusing my findings on the Pacheco reading, which focuses on translanguaging in the classroom and code meshing. I find that to be effective. I do use translanguaging with some of my lessons in the classroom. I teach reading, a sixth grade teacher at a middle school. And I find it that with my students, translanguaging really works. I think it's effective when it comes for them to complete thoughts in their native language, especially because I push for the second language, which is English. I really push for that, and it works in my classroom. They, let's say I'm asking them to elaborate on an idea or a question or a thought, and if they get stuck on a word that they don't know how to translate to English, I encourage them to say it in Spanish and not to be embarrassed, not to be afraid that I will will give them the correct word in English. And it works in my classroom. I think it's important to be able to do the translanguaging in the classroom, not be afraid of it, not think that it's going to hurt the student. I think it actually benefits the students. They are also feel comfortable. It becomes a safe environment. They feel that it's okay to speak in the native language. And that's something that I saw in the Pacheco article that is very similar to what I do in my classroom. So I will keep doing it. I was actually told by one of the directors my first year, I think maybe 3 years ago, that it wasn't a good idea to do that because the students will then be discouraged to speak in English. And I don't find that to be true at all because I encourage English. I do tell them it's okay if there's a word that you don't know. Say it. We'll fix it, and then we move on from there. I think that it also encourages the PRISM model because they are saying a word, or sometimes they don't even know the word in their native language. I also assist them with finding the correct word in the native language and then translating it to English as well. So I think that's also important, and it also facilitates their learning, and they get to learn words both in Spanish and English and know the correct definition. As far as code meshing, I think it needs to be promoted more. I think that we are so caught up with the state assessment that we don't encourage it enough. At least not in my classroom, I don't, but I don't have recent immigrants. I have more of the long-term English language learners, and I feel that it is important because we don't encourage them to speak in their native language. We don't encourage them, I feel, enough the importance of being bilingual. And I think that that's not good because they should feel proud to speak two languages. And a lot of my students want to mostly speak in Spanish. They don't feel that it's important or that it's beneficial at all. And I just tell them that when you know more than one language, your value. Es como dicen que vales por dos personas cuando hablas dos idiomas. So I think it's important to promote that, and it's just not, in our district, it's not promoted. It's not encouraged. They are discouraged from speaking Spanish, and I did get a little bit in trouble for doing that, but it doesn't stop me from translanguaging in the classroom because it helps the kids and it encourages them to speak properly. And I think that's important, especially for the test and for learning academic language as well, because if they don't know the words then in their own native language, then how do I even expect them to know them in English? The conclusions after I like I said, I was already doing this in my classroom. After reading the Pacheco article, it made me feel better about doing it and that I am doing the correct thing. So I will keep doing it in the future.